How y'all doing? Cheers. Look at that. Look at y'all showing up again. It's nice to see you. You will never guess where I am tonight. And I'm not going to tell you yet. How's that? Town of magic thoughts, with treasures lay in wooden boxes, with cobblestones and candlelight. Waves caress the rocky coast, and souls fly like translucent ghosts on their final flight. I will walk down empty streets, my pants rolled up above bare feet, with a suitcase full of lyric sheets left undone. And the angels will all gather round and take me, lay me down, chanting, oh come, I could be gone like the wind, yeah. Doesn't take a lot to take away the things you've got in store. Would you cry for a friend who couldn't bring you fairy tales anymore? Na na na, na na na, yeah. The iron gates will creak in town, with the thatched roofs and the clinging vines, and all good things will form a line and pass through me, and I'll be forced to catch my breath and know the warmth inside my chest. And this will surely be my test to infinity. Soon I will forget the past and all the things that wouldn't last, all the dreams and spells I casted within my mind. And if you look, you'll see me there, and I'll return a humble stare, and you will know that I'll always care about what I left behind. None could be gone like the wind, yeah. Doesn't take a lot to take away the things you've got in store. Would you cry for a friend? Yeah, couldn't bring you fairy tales anymore. No, 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 yeah, yeah. I will still be singing, but I will change my tune, and I'll go as loud as you shout. You will always be sleeping, time slow hand will always be creeping around to the top and back again. Another life gone is another begins. The weight of the world's a soft caress. There's no such thing as a waste of breath. And the things that we want should cover a lot, and the things that we need we probably got. And as long as there's love, there will always be pain. We soak in that sun through the knowledge of rain. Even water coming down will wash us clean. And the hurt will make us strong, we'll see. Now I could be gone like the wind. Doesn't take a lot to take away the things you've got in store. Would you cry for friends? Hey, couldn't bring you fairy tales anymore. No, 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 hey, hey. Cheers, y'all. I screwed that one up, didn't I? Does this fit over on this side better? It looks a little better over there, doesn't it? I think so. How y'all doing? This is weird. It is a weird night. It's a weird day. It's a weird night for me. There's been so much happening in my life. Marriage and a baby and the construction zone in Chelsea. And in the midst of it all, this is going to sound insane. It sounds insane to me. It feels insane to me. But Allie and I bought a house. We bought a house. We bought this house, as a matter of fact, in Maine, mid-coast Maine, a little town. There's a little tiny town halfway up the coast of Maine, about 3+ hours north of Boston, called Port Clyde. Got a history of lobster fishermen and quarry diggers and farmers, and plan was not to buy a house right now. We have, but we seem to be. We have this little thing out in California, and we rent it, and it's not only paying for itself, but it's paying for our Chelsea place. And we're thinking about Willa and our future as a family. And then Allie found this house. It was built in, I don't know, the 1800s sometime. It was a tiny little house next to a little barn. And at some point, they connected the little house to the little barn in the weirdest, quirkiest. It's like really skinny and long and stretchy and bendy. No right angles. Lots of windows. Looking out over the water. We're in the barn section right now. That's now the living room. It's a weird thing. It felt like so much already, and thinking about and managing another place. Being, maybe some of you know about this, right? Spending more than you have, trusting your life plans, and that's a scary thing, right? Owning anything is overwhelming and a lot of work. But for the next handful of years, we're gonna have to play the rental roulette game, and we'll find ways to make it work. We'll have to. But it feels weird. It feels weird to me on a number of levels, right? One, for the vast majority of my adult life, I've had nothing, right? I lived in a basement, part of which had dirt floors for most of my adult life. And the goal is never, right? The goal with music and my life was never material. The goal was always to have the most positive impact on as many people as I can with the art that I make, right? Simple. And it feels strange to have an abundance, even if that abundance is tethered by a thin string, even if that's what it feels like. And I've always sung about what I was living through, and what I was living through was always struggle, and it feels like there are so many changes happening. Right? And the housing stuff pales in comparison to the fatherhood stuff. Anyways, feels like my feet aren't quite touching the ground right now, which is fun and wonderful. It's all fun and wonderful, but it's scary. Feels a hope that all of this that I'm taking in, I hope I can swallow it all. Crazy thing, isn't it? So anyways, I'm a Bostonian, but now I'm also a Mainer, so cheers. We'll see if we can keep this train on the tracks, huh? Anyways, I've been thinking about a lot of chapters in my life because of all this. I don't know if I told this story in a gathering. Maybe I have, maybe I haven't. But it was one of the early lessons that I learned. And it led to a song. And that song became the first song that I played out in front of human beings in my first open mic. Some of you know I spent some time up in Canada. I spent some time farming, working on a dairy farm up in Canada. But there were a number of weeks when I was driving up there, and this was way back. I hadn't even graduated college yet. I was just taking some time off to go up, and I felt like I needed to know what it was like to have to work for a living, to have to really work for a living. Here I was in college with all of these people that were going to become professionals, and that's work too, don't get me wrong. I mean, you know, being lawyers and doctors, politicians, business people and professors, professionals. That's all work, but you know what? There's nothing it's a different kind of work. It's not the kind of work that requires muscles and calluses on your fingers. And I felt like I needed to build up some calluses on my fingers. I felt like I needed to have some perspective a little bit, you know, and of the world, of most of the world that was outside of the walls of the college that I was attending. And so I decided that I wanted to go up to Canada and I wanted to work on a farm. And I guess I chose Canada rather than any other farm in the U.S. is because I don't know, I felt like I'd never been up to Canada, and it was as foreign a spot as I could realistically get to in a short period of time in a $700 van that I bought. So I drove up and I spent some number of weeks driving through Canada, over the Great Lakes, across the border north of Wisconsin, Minnesota, something like that. Across the border, and I headed east over all of the Great Lakes. I had many adventures over those weeks. I only had a finite number of dollars in my pocket, so I had to kind of make things last. I'd sleep in the van, I would eat canned food. Every once in a while I would treat myself to a beer at a bar where I'd inevitably meet someone incredibly interesting that I have not forgotten about. I woke up one morning on my ride. Well, and anyways, I was looking for work on a farm. I would have taken work anywhere I could get it, but anywhere I could get it. I'd go to each town. I'd stop in the local bar, the local general store, and it's small towns, right? And I'd say, is there a farmer around here, that local farmer or local person that maybe is looking for someone to hire for a little while? And they would point me out to some farmer. I'd go out there and ask them for work, and they'd say no, and I'd go on to the next town. This happened for quite some time. And of course, I eventually found work in Cookstown, Ontario, and some songs and adventures came out of that. Some stories came out of that. But this particular story happened before that. I was just east of a town called Nipigon, where I had hung out the night before. It had been a rainy night, and I was in a bar, nasty, seedy bar, my favorite kind. And I was just sitting there. I was drinking a beer, and I was sitting at the bar, and I was drinking a beer, and I was reading I was reading a Hemingway, some old man in the sea kind of a thing, at the end of the bar, and of course, the guy reading a book at the bar attracted some attention from some of the locals. Sprung up a pretty wild night. No trouble, don't get me wrong. I mean, there could have been trouble. There started out with a lot of potential for trouble that night. It's been my experience that deep down, everyone just wants to be friends. When someone gives you trouble, it has been my experience. It's pretty easy to defuse the bomb unless you want trouble. I woke up the next morning, I was hungover. I was hung down and brung down from the night before. And I got in the van and I was driving east. And it was a rainy, drizzly day after a rainy, drizzly night. It was in the middle of the afternoon that I pulled the van over to open up a can of beans or whatever I was gonna feast on that afternoon. Sitting on the roof of my van, pulled over on the side of the highway, somewhere east in Ipagong. The rain had stopped, and suddenly this giant, bigger than I've ever seen before, this giant rainbow. One of those rainbows that's so big you can see both ends reach the ground. One of those rainbows that's got so much juice to it. It sprouts a second rainbow on top. Never in the sky. It's awesome. It was just, I'd never seen that. I'd seen rainbow. We've all seen rainbow. I'd never seen anything quite like that before. And it was happening on the right side of the road, and on the left side of the road there was this. The sun began to go down. I just sat there. Might have sat there for an hour. I didn't know where I was. It's the roof of my van, watching this thing, and the sun began to go down to my left, behind some peaks, some hills, mountains. I don't know what they were, right? But they were certainly higher than me, and the sun was going down behind them. And I just decided that I wanted to make sure that this particular night, I was going to see this sunset. It had been an epic, incredible last 18 hours. And I was still not feeling quite right. And sometimes when I'm depleted and exhausted or hurting in physical ways, sometimes, I don't know if this happens to you, but it opens. Sometimes those are my best shows. Oftentimes, my most tired shows are my favorite shows. Because I just think that I stop thinking. And I just let it happen. Pulled the van off to the road on the left, and I started driving towards the sunset because I wanted to see the sunset. I wanted to break out the guitar. I wanted to sing. I wanted to write a song. I wanted to experience every second of this day that I was in the midst of. I adopted the mentality back then that life is just a series of moments for us to capture, that we have the choice and the opportunity to capture these moments. And the moments are the things, they are the building blocks of our lives that we live. That's what I believed back then, and that's what I believe today. And man, I was aware that I was in the midst of a moment. So I followed the sunset. And as I was going and as I was driving the van faster than I should have. during twisty, windy roads and slick surface, around mountain passes, twisting and turning and trying. And meanwhile, the sun is going down behind the hills in front of me. I'm starting to panic because the road is going lower and lower rather than higher and higher. And I knew that I needed to get higher and higher if I was going to see the sunset over the peaks. And so at one point there had been on the side of the road, they had just freshly cut down a whole bunch of trees. They had not cleared the trees yet. All the trees were lying down, but they were in the midst of cutting a fire lane, like one of those lanes you sometimes see when going up the side of a giant hill, a mountain, forested area, right? It's a path so that any fire that happens there will be some barrier, right, to slow. And it might have also been, I mean, they might have been planning to put a giant, right, and the cables through there or something. I don't know, but there was a path cut, and I could see the top of the mountain. And I got out of the van. I pulled the van over, and I got out of the van, and I put on a jacket and my boots, and I grabbed my guitar, and I put the strap on over my shoulder, and I put the guitar. It was wet. It had been raining for 24 hours, and all these. It was just trees and foliage down along the side of it. Was soaking, right? And I had my guitar, so I tucked the guitar into my jacket, and I started running up the side of the mountain, climbing over the stumps and the trees that were cut down, and I don't know how many, hundreds of yards the top of the peak was, right? It's not like I was starting at the base of Mount Washington, right? And trying to get up 6,000 feet. But very quickly, I found myself soaked head to toe. Cut, bleeding from a number of different places. Just trying to minimize the number of scratches hitting the guitar. Lungs burning. If you've ever run up a hill, it does not take long before your lungs just burn. I remember that. I had to take time climbing and walking and scrambling, avoiding, trying to find the fastest way up to the top of that hill. Finally got to the top of the crest, and on each side of me there were trees. It was not a bald peak. It had not cleared the tree line at the top of this area, but I kind of remembered at that point I'd lost my orientation somewhat, but I kind of remembered on what side the sun had been setting, and I just started running through the trees, and it was a pine forest far up in Canada, right? And so, but it was thick, and the trees had grown thick, and so all the pine needles were above me, essentially, and underneath there were the trunks of the trees, but all the little spindly branches in between the trunks of the trees sticking out, right? And so it was tuck the guitar and run through these little spinally pine tree branches, and suddenly the trees broke, and I found myself on a cliff that went straight down into the valley, and over on the other side of the valley was the sun that was setting over the far farmlands, pastures, and it was the most beautiful thing I had ever seen. And and I thought to myself, okay, I can, and delusional, self-important youth, a beautiful thing, and something that I harnessed And, but I said to myself, you know what? I can do anything. I can do anything. I can do anything. For a moment. I said that for a moment. And then the mosquitoes came out. As soon as I stopped running, I quickly realized I was probably the only human, soft pink skin, that had been anywhere near that area for quite some time. I have never ever in my life seen so many mosquitoes so big and swarming, right? You gotta understand, right? I am now in the midst of, I am far away from any kind of relief. But, I mean, it was the kind of thing you look down and there, even in a patch of arm, you would see like 20 mosquitoes landing. I'd never seen anything like it. It was like kind of scary almost, you know? Like some scene out of, you know, if there was a horror movie, right, where suddenly the mosquitoes took revenge and began, that would be the scene. You would look down and you would see yourself covered in mosquitoes, and then they would kill you, right? And but that's what it looked like. And I took a moment, even though I was getting the shit bitten out of me, to play on that cliff. But the metaphor continued for me. The metaphor of the experience of finding that sunset, of the journey that I was on. And it was this. And I like this lesson better than the first lesson I learned. The first lesson being, I can do anything I put my mind to. The second lesson was, I can do anything that I put my mind to. But I'm pretty sure that when I do it, it's not gonna feel the way I expected it to feel. I really like that lesson. I can do anything that I put my mind to. But when I do it, it's not going to feel the way I expected it to feel. And I'm reminded of that today. I've got this. I've got so many things in my life that I've been working so crazy hard for. I've got a wonderful partner. I've got a beautiful, perfect, amazing daughter who is expanding my heart and my soul every single day. I got places to live. Got an amazing band to play with. I've got an incredible, inspiring community of people who will listen to me fucking babble on for 30 minutes straight. The story that's not quite getting anywhere, is it? But there are days, right? Even in this perfect world that I continue to build and create and work toward. There are days that feel hard. Sometimes I wonder if we are just programmed chemically to have ups and downs, to experience this much pain and pleasure, to experience this much happiness and sorrow. And we try really hard. We think we're trying to impact the pain and pleasure and the happiness and the sorrow, but maybe we're just doing things that have nothing to do with those other things. I don't know. Anyways, I don't know when it was, 6 months, 8 months, 10 months. later, almost a year later, maybe, I was gonna graduate college. Graduate college. It was my final semester. I had planned that pretty well because my final semester of college was also my final lacrosse season. So I made sure that I was going to tackle all of the important classes I needed to tackle, and that my final semester in college was going to be just, a little nip and tuck. Getting all the credits, final credits I needed. One of those credits that I needed was one of our, I went to a liberal arts college. They have these core curriculum where you can kind of learning about different places in the world, or different cultures. I had my final on whatever core curriculum class I was taking my senior spring before graduating. I had a paper that I had to write. That night it was due the next morning. I did not write that paper. Instead, I stayed up all night and I thought about that day on the mountain. I thought about the lessons that I was learning. I was thinking about the moments that I was experiencing in my life. I was thinking about being an artist. I was thinking that I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to experience my life inside of those moments, and I wanted those moments to become songs, and I wanted those songs to reflect the moments that other people in the world were having. I didn't do my final paper. Instead, I wrote this song. Now, this song eventually became a song called A Boy's Song, but I'm going to play for you the original song, which was called A Boy, which you can still find on Spotify and other streaming platforms here and there if you look for it. Like I said, this was my first song that I ever performed when I got on my first stage, my first open mic, and man, what a lucky fella that I am that I still enjoy playing it. Boy wakes up from his dream, jumps out of bed and knows that he will conquer the world. At the sun and he smiles, 'cause his light shines just as bright. All the people that go running through his mind join the chorus of his heart and lungs combined and step in time. In the haphazard motion of his dreary days, that he brings the song out from within his memory. And he knows that lack of direction directs the intuition of the undaunted mind. Singing softly to avoid a sin, stifles voices in his heart, and I wanna scream, I am free. I am free. Yeah. Sings all the time, yeah. Prophecies in rhythm and in rhyme. If you listen angels swarm. I am the wine within your cup. I give myself to fill you up. And if I die before I wake, pray my friends, my soul will take. When my bleeding heart runs through, my six brass strings will ring out you. Ring out true. So, thank you. Thanks for the claps and the love. So we bought this place. Funny, from another musician, a fella who's composed and written music his whole life, and he has got a number of places, and he's got a place on an island not far from here. He's got a place down in Florida, and he and his family. He bought this with his brother when they were young, and it was crazy for them to buy it back then too. He had a lot of great memories over the years here, and but it was time for him, and when we bought it, and right, Allie and I have been so underwater with everything else, fixing up our place back in Boston, being parents. So we bought this place with all the furniture, right? Which is a catch-22. Pretty amazing, right? To walk into a house and it's already a very functional home. But the other side of it is that it's not our stuff. So it doesn't feel like our home yet. It feels like an incredible place. And it feels like a place we're going to grow into slowly. But yeah, that's why we have the sailor's knots on the wall. We got a buoy on that side. And some of the amazing stuff here we'll keep. Some of it we won't. And we're giving ourselves the freedom of doing it all slowly. Slowly. So yeah. Well, played one of my very first for you just then. It came along with a story that was at least 15 times longer than the actual song itself. I apologize. But the story was not really about an introduction to the song. But maybe I'll follow that up with that was a song in which I was really self-reflecting, granted in the third person. right? I was that boy character, and so I thought maybe I'll follow it up with a with a with a song that uh, I've writ I've written recently, which means in the past couple of years, and another time when I was self-reflecting, and 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 I will. Well, it's called Little Moon. Also a good one for me today. Must be driving in the wrong direction, 'cause each day gets farther, feeling like home. Must be striving without reflection, 'cause each day gets farther, feeling like home. Little moon, guide me home, counting my paces, dust on my laces, walking with ghosts that ain't go what is gone, trying to cherish quietly the things I had today. Little moon, float to stay, little glow to guide my way. And I've made so many mistakes, but without each and every one of them, I'd not be in this place. And I try to throw the would have beens and could have beens away, practice my falling with grace, feel the wind whisper on my face, just surviving my perfection when days are farther, feeling like home. Little moon, guide me home, counting my paces, dust on my laces, walking with ghosts that ain't go what is gone, trying to cherish quietly the things I have today. Little moon, thought to still, little broke to guide my way, guide my way, guide my way. Well, I had an awesome weekend, by the way. This is my first time playing music again, out for human beings after being a father. What an awesome thing. Got to open up for one of my good friends, Graham Parker, on Saturday, and then I got to play at the Black Bear Festival in Goshen, Connecticut, and that was just awesome. So many of you gatherers were there. It was just such a fun night. I was talking to my mom before the gathering today, and I was saying it's so interesting because I could see under maybe normal circumstances, right? I'm playing all the time, and then I have a kid and I go off the road for 5 weeks, and then I come back and I play, and I could see that being a weird, surreal, hard thing, feeling detached from the process. Anyways, I show up to this festival, and I think it's because that because so much of my life I just talk about and share. But everybody in the entire festival knew about my daughter Willa, and it was great. I got to walk on the stage, and it felt so good. It felt so good to play music again. But it felt so good to play music again as me, as a changed me, as a different me. And of course, I'm a different me every day I wake up, I guess. But there are bigger changes some days than others. Certainly having a daughter is one of them. Anyways, it feels great to play again. And I can't wait for this weekend. Autumn Getaway Sessions. For those of you who don't know what that is, we are doing our first 3-day trip. And we scheduled this. This was like an experiment, thanks to our friend Lisa, who did an incredible job organizing. She said, you know what, I think you should do a 3-day trip. And I said, I can't do that. And she said, I'll do it. I'll organize it. And she put together an amazing 3-day trip. We call it the Autumn Getaway Sessions. And it was supposed to happen a little while ago, and then COVID happened. And it's been, man, we organized this trip. We put tickets up. It was a small trip. It could only fit like 80 people. Something like that, like really, really small, really, really small, and sold out in like a week, and everybody kept their tickets, even when we had to cancel. And so it's happening this weekend. I think we are going. I can't remember. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Does that sound right? I think that's right. And I can't wait to be on an adventure with 80 of you for 3 days. It's just going to be super fun. Just to let you all know, and I don't know what the situation was, but I talked to my team this morning, and that team these days includes my awesome friend Robin Tarka, who is on tonight and every gathering, and as is the case these days, there are people that are dropping out of the Autumn Getaway Sessions just this week, even the week of. They're feeling sick, or something happened. They had close contact with someone. They got really freaked out about something. And that's fine, because it's a really scary time, and it's okay for people to be scared. We have this long waiting list of people who have waited a long time, but at this point, there's only a handful of days left before the Autumn Getaway Sessions, which happen to be in Ogunquit, Maine, down the road from where I am right now. I just want to let you all know, because I bet that if you reach out to management at adamezra.com, or you click on Autumn Getaway Sessions and you reach out to people from the contact page of there, or you even reach out to Robin here on the chat or on Facebook, there may be, it's low percentage odds at this point, I know, but there may be a chance that we could squeeze you into the mix. So let us know. And on Monday, part of the Autumn Getaway Sessions is we're doing a show at an actual music venue called Jonathan's, which has been a staple in the music world for decades. Really cool place. Almost every famous folk musician in the country has played at Jonathan's one time or another. And it's a weird place. It's like a dinner place. You go there, you have dinner, and then you go upstairs and you sit at a table. It kind of feels like you're at a bar mitzvah. But it's awesome. We've never had a bad night at Jonathan's. And so we're playing there, and there are tickets. You don't have to come to the whole Getaway Sessions to come to that. I have also heard today that the resort for the winter getaway for the winter getaway, for the winter gathering on January 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, that the resort is down to a small number of rooms left. So the resort is almost sold out of rooms. I want to let you gatherers know in case you have not gotten tickets yet. And then I'm just so excited about the next, the next forever, really. But these next 3 months at the end of the year, we are not going at a crazy pace. We're only playing maybe 1-2 shows a week, something like that, which is super slow for us. But we have chosen great spots all over New England. Some of my favorite venues, and I think New England has the best music venues in the world. So I'm really looking forward to this fall. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like you all should come to all of them. You know, I feel like Adam Ezra Group should offer a meal plan. Right? We should offer a meal plan. You can just come to whatever show you want. You're on the meal plan? Oh, yeah. Just come to that. How can we do that? How can we do a meal plan? I mean, every show's different. So I just as soon have you all come to all of them. How's that? All right. I'm gonna go hang with my wife and my daughter in our surreal little cottage on the coast of Maine. And I'm gonna think about my life and all the things that I feel lucky about. And I will see y'all this weekend. I am not sure which night we are gonna do. We are gonna do our gathering from yet. Still figuring it all out. But we'll get there. We'll get there. I'll let you know. Okay. Thanks for being here. Okay. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to you the wind at our back. May it always blow steady wherever you roam. May it turn when you're ready to carry you home. May it keep you ahead of the rain. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the heavens above. Some say it's a glimpse of God's great design. Some say it's the science of all things combined. May we look up and always feel wonder. Here is to us all that we see. Here's to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to the company. Here's to the drink that we share. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to this time that we had. But these moments pass lightly, won't come again. May our lives all burn brightly right up to the end. May we live them with joyous abandon. Raise up your glasses. Let us drink to the end of the day. Let us drink till the work when the working is through. Let us drink one to me. Let us drink one to you. Let us drink one to those who are with us. Here's to us, and all that we see is to our hearts and the air that we breathe. Here's to round in good company. Here's to the future. Here's to the past. Let us walk down slow. Let us drink one down fast. Let us drink one as if this night is our last. Here's to the drink that we share. Oh, here's to the drink that we share. Please stay safe. Keep on looking out for one another. And I'll see you soon.